What's up, everybody? It's Legal Tender. I'm back in the building. I'm back in the vote. I pulled out some notes to make a new video. As I always do, I want to thank everybody for the love and support of the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do appreciate it. If you're a fan of numismatics, if you're a fan of paper currency, if you're just getting into the hobby of numismatics, stay rocking with me, stay rocking with the channel. Every Tuesday is Legal Tender Tuesday. Now I'll be making a new episode every week speaking about something new, different, or interesting within the field of numismatics. If you have any questions, comments, or input, put it down in the comments section. I read everything and I respond back as soon as possible with the most right answer that I know. Throughout the video, if I say something that is a little off, that's not 100% accurate, or it's a little different from what you know, let me know via the comments. I will go back, hit the books, and make sure that I have the right information moving forward. All right, with that being said, let's get into today's episode. All right, so today I pulled out two notes. These are notes that I pulled out. 1, 2. So I pulled out two $5 bills, as you can see. Boom, boom. But I picked these two for a specific reason. So these notes here, this one here is series year 1928B. I wanted to speak on the 1928, but I don't got a 1928. So the closest that I have to that series year is a 1928B. So we using this one. And I got a 1934 series year. Now the reason I pulled these two notes out is because of the different shade of green on these treasury seals. Now going through the notes, these two different shades, they definitely stand out, and I wanted to know why this shade of green is different from that shade of green, or vice versa. I don't really know. If you know, put that down in the comment section. Was it something just arbitrary, something that just randomly happened, or was it a conscious decision by the Secretary of Treasury or the Treasurer of the United States that made the choice to change the color of the ink? So that's what I'll be speaking about, and just the differences between each note based on series year. Now the similarities, aside from the denomination, the both $5 bills, and the currency type, they both Federal Reserve notes, and as always, you can find the currency type up top. And we know that Federal Reserve notes have the distinct characteristic of having green treasury seals and serial numbers. But these two are two different shades of green. So be speaking about that. All right, so now starting off with the differences. Now, immediately, you could tell one difference is, obviously, it's the series year, 1928 to 1934. So series year is different. The signatures are different, which may lead to a change in the series year, different signatures. It'll definitely add a suffix letter anytime the signature change, or if there's a major or minor, there's a minor change to the note. So the signature is different, series year is different. Something else I noticed that's different, obviously the color, but the obligation, the debt clause, that is different as well. Now I'll speak about that in a second. I have some previous episodes where I speak about different colors on a treasury seal, the series change, the signatures, the roles and responsibility that's associated with these signatures, and the obligation. So if you want to know a little bit more about those things right there, check out my previous episodes. All right, so getting into series year 1928. There we go. All right, at the end of series year 1928 and beginning of series year 1934, a light green ink was used on all Federal Reserve notes, but only for a short period of time. The ink was then changed to a dark green ink on subsequent notes. Now, why they changed the ink, that's what I want to know. I do not know, but it's clearly a visible change in ink. This color ink right here is known as DGS, and that is for a dark green seal. And on the 34 series, it is called LGS, a light green seal. Now, I don't have a color palette in front of me to identify the different types of green, but if I had to call it a certain color, I would call this like a dark forest green, and this right here would be like a light lime colored green. And between the two notes, I like this one better just because the brightness over it really stands out and pops to me. But now if I had a 1928 series, but I don't, I got a 1928B, and the signatures on this 1928B note is going to the treasurer. The treasurer of the United States. Signature is Walter Orr Woods. And the secretary of the Treasury is Andrew W. Mellon. Aside from that, nothing super spectacular stands out about this note. The reverse is still the same, the Lincoln Memorial. The only difference is the color of the Treasury seal and the serial number. Now, on the original 1928 series, the signatures were of Harold Theodore Tate and Andrew W. Mellon. And when I get that note, I'll put that in the collection and I will let you know. The 1928 series was printed from 1928 all the way up to 1928D. And now looking at the visual aids that I got up, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Now you'll see that there's a slow transition in the color getting lighter. And the only difference between the notes that I got up on the screen is the denomination. So we got a 5 right here. Like I said, with that dark forest green. It's getting a little lighter right here, $10 denomination. And on this $20 bill, that's lime. That's a lime color green right there. With my eye, that's how I see it. But that is that. Now, going over to series year 1934. It's a lighter green, lime green, sour apple green. As we got right there, series year 1934. These notes are LGS of a light green seal. And the signatures on this note is, as we go to the treasurer, it has the signature of William Alexander Julian, W.A. Julian. And the secretary of the Treasury is Henry Morgenthau Jr. Something else I noticed on this note, these notes, is if you look at the font of 1928 compared to 1934, the 1928 Bravo font seems to be a little smaller, a little bit more finer. So that's that right there. These series This 1934 series was printed from 1934 all the way up to 1934D. And random interesting fact that both of these notes were printed from the original year up to suffix letter D. So it was 1928 all the way up to 1928D, and 1934 all the way up to 1934D. So that is that. And also with this 1934 series, both light and dark seals were printed throughout the entirety of this print run. So all the way through 1934 to 1934D, both light green seal and dark green seals were printed for the entirety of the 1934 run. Now with the 1928, specifically with 1928B, Series 1928 Series B was the only series print that had both light and dark green seals printed. So only the 1928B had both light and dark green seals printed. Everything else was of a dark green seal. So looking at the 1934, got a light green tint to it. Still no production team, it's just me. This is a nice clean note right here. Lime green seal, and it got a star, solid filled in green star. That's a good note right there. You'll get some money with that one. Okay, so also as a result of President Roosevelt's gold recall order of 1933, the obligation clause for the 1934 series is changed to indicate the note is redeemable in lawful money only. So now, like I said, with the obligations, that changed. Now, when you had series year 1928, the obligation reads as follows: redeemable in gold on demand at the United States Treasury or in gold or lawful money at any Federal Reserve Bank. So this clause right here, it indicates, it identifies that you could take this note to the U.S. Treasury or any Federal Reserve Bank, and you could have this note redeemed for the face value in gold. Now, like I said, with the recall order of 1933 by President Roosevelt, the gold redemption was removed completely from the 1934 series. And the clause on this reads, let me get it there. This note is legal tender for all debts, public and private, and is redeemable in lawful money at the United States Treasury or at any Federal Reserve Bank. So the redemption clause in gold was completely removed. So you could no longer take, well, you could take it to the Treasury, but the Treasury or any Federal Reserve Bank did not have to exchange this note or the face value of this note for gold because of the recall in 1933. So, along with the change in color to these notes, it was also a change to the fine print to the obligation as well. But the thing that really caught my eye was the different shades of green. But that's what we got with these notes. Now, these are the notes that was printed that were Federal Reserve notes. $5 bill, the 10, 20, 50, $100 note, $500, $1,000, $5,000, and $10,000 bills. All these notes are Federal Reserve notes. This style is no longer printed, and I will have future episodes speaking about some of these higher denomination notes. So that is that. All right, so let's get into some fun facts. Okay, so you will not see the following denominations in these 2 years. And the years are 1928 or 1934. In the denomination you will not see a $1 bill or a $2 bill. And that's because the $1 note wasn't printed as a Federal Reserve note until 1963. And the $2 note wasn't printed as a Federal Reserve note until it was reissued in 1976 because it was originally printed as a United States note from 1928 until 1966. So just by looking up there, there's no ones, there's no twos, just 5 all the way down to 10,000. All right, that is tape 2. I recorded it earlier, but for some odd reason it didn't upload, so we got back into it. So here you go. 1928, 1934. All right, that's all we got for this one. Until next time, keep it legal, keep it tender. Talk to you soon.